Orders of the day. Ordre du jour.
Government orders, business of supply, consideration of an opposition motion concerning the Komagata Maru incident, standing in the name of Mr. Sandhu.
Mr. Sandhu, seconded by Ms. Sims, Newton North Delta, moves that in the opinion of the House, the government should officially apologize in the House of Commons to the South Asian community and to the individuals impacted in the 1914 Komagata Maru incident, in which passengers were prevented from landing in Canada. Debate. The Honourable Member for Surrey North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll be splitting my time with the member from Marc Orlais-Potin. Mr. Speaker, today I rise in support of the NDP motion calling on the government to officially apologize in the House of Commons to the descendants, the South Asian community, and to the individuals impacted by the 1914 Komagata Maru incident in which passengers were prevented from landing in Canada. Mr. Speaker, next week on May 23rd, it'll mark the 98th anniversary of the arrival of the Komagata Maru in the Burrard Inlet, Vancouver. Today, I'm asking all members of this House to vote in support of this motion. The South Asian community should not have to wait a century for an official apology for this tragic event. Mr. Speaker, the tragedy of the Komagata Maru marks a dark chapter in Canadian history, and the South Asian community has waited for far too long for a dignified apology in the House of Commons. The journey of Komagata Maru was one of tragedy. The passengers left their homes to come to make a new life in Canada, the land of opportunity. Mr. Speaker, what they didn't realize was that Canada was the land of opportunity, but not for all, but only for some. The tragedy was one of several incidents in the early 20th century involving exclusion laws that were put in place to keep out immigrants of South Asian origin. Mr. Speaker, it was a well-known secret. The continuous journey was a racially motivated regulation, same as the Chinese head tax, that did immeasurable harm by keeping South Asians out of Canada. Mr. Speaker, at the same time, Canada was accepting massive numbers of immigrants. In fact, 400,000 immigrants came to Canada in 1912 alone, a figure that remains unsurpassed to this day, almost all of them whom came from Europe. Mr. Speaker, the Komagata Maru carried 376 passengers. Of them, 340 were Sikhs, there were 24 Muslims, and 12 Hindus. And they were all, at that time, were British subjects. Mr. Speaker, the passengers were prevented from disembarking while the ship remained in the Burrard Inlet for 2 months. And while the men and women and children aboard the ship were denied basic necessities of life, just such as water and food. The conditions on the ship worsened on a daily basis, and the people aboard the ship suffered greatly. Mr. Speaker, everyday Canadians, at great risk to themselves, took food to the ship during those 2 months. In the end, only 20 passengers were admitted to Canada since the ship had violated the discriminatory exclusion laws. The ship was turned around. It was sent back on July 23, 1914. After its arrival in Calcutta, now it's Kolkata, on September 27th, police fired on the passengers and 19 were shot dead. The rest were imprisoned or kept under village arrest. Mr. Speaker, I'm an immigrant myself. I came to Canada 32 years ago to have a better life in Canada. I came here with the same hopes of the people that were on board the Komagata Maru ship. And I have had incredible opportunities. Being elected to this House to represent my community of Surrey has been the greatest honor and opportunity of a lifetime for me. Mr. Speaker, what if I endeavored to make that journey to Canada in the first half of the last century, I too probably would have been turned away. I would have been like those passengers on the Komagata Maru ship. Mr. Speaker, these policies were racially prejudiced, and they were wrong. My community and the whole of the South Asian community deserves a dignified, formal apology in this House for this tragedy. Mr. Speaker, I've spoken to many Canadians across this great country of ours on this issue. For 17 years, I've been fighting for the justice for the Komagata Maru incident, along with my good friend and colleague, Sandhu, who is the president of the Professor Mohan Singh Memorial Foundation of Canada. In 2006, we urged the Prime Minister to make an apology in the House of Commons. Mr. Speaker, I was there on the stage with the Prime Minister in Surrey in 2008. We were expecting the Prime Minister to announce the date of formal apology, official apology, in the House of Commons. But a few days before the event, we learned that the Prime Minister would be apologizing from the festival stage. We advised the Prime Minister's office that this would be inappropriate and that the community would see this kind of apology as disrespectful. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister's statement in the park was immediately rejected by thousands at the event and those who heard about it. Many felt disappointed and insulted. Mr. Speaker, the current Minister of Citizenship and Immigration said at that time, the apology has been given and it won't be repeated. This was adding insult to the injury, Mr. Speaker. The minister went on to say that the turning away of the Komagata Maru was different than the other incidents, such as the Chinese head tax. The Komagata Maru tragedy, like the Chinese head tax, was an injustice that happened due to racially prejudiced Canadian immigration laws that were designed to exclude Asian people from the largest wave of immigration Canada has ever experienced. The Minister of Citizenship and Immigration dismisses the Komagata Maru tragedy as one incident, refuses to acknowledge continuous journey policy that was in place for 39 years, Mr. Speaker, 39 years. The Komagata Maru tragedy is a symbol of these policies that were in place to prevent people of South Asian origin from immigrating to this country. Again, Mr. Speaker, I want to emphasize that these policies were in place from 1908 till 1947. That makes it 39 years that the exclusion policies were in place. Mr. Speaker, even now there's no transcript or written record of the statement the Prime Minister gave in the park, and the Prime Minister's office refuses to provide one. How can the Conservatives think this is acceptable? Mr. Speaker, South Asians, without an apology in the Parliament, there's no official record of what the government has done. That is unacceptable, Mr. Speaker. South Asian Canadians deserve to have a respectful acknowledgement of this historic wrong. By refusing to formally apologize for the Komagata Maru incident, the Conservatives have essentially created two levels for apologies for historic wrong. That is unacceptable, Mr. Speaker. We support the steps taken by governments over the years to offer respectful and dignified apologies. Apology for Canadian Chinese internship camps, the apology for Chinese Canadians for the head tax. In apologizing for the Chinese head tax, the Prime Minister stressed that it was, and I quote this, grave injustice that we are morally obliged to acknowledge. Mr. Speaker, the Komagata Maru incident highlights the grave injustices that occurred against people coming from South Asia. Mr. Speaker, recently the Minister of Immigration, Citizenship and Immigration was out in my community celebrating the contributions by South Asians to Canada and its economy. Mr. Speaker, photo ops do not cut it. Homilies do not cut it. An official apology, dignified apology is what is required. Mr. Speaker, I urge the Prime Minister to reconsider and make a dignified apology in this House. An announcement in the park is not an apology. My generation and next generation of South Asian Canadians are waiting for a wrong to be made right. The suffering and the loss of lives cannot be set right but a formal apology is a part of healing process. Mr. Speaker, in pursuit of a better life, Komagata Maru passenger risked everything. When they arrived on our shores, government in ultimate cruelty turned them away because they were not right color or religion. Mr. Speaker, the New Democrats are respectfully requesting in the strongest possible way for the Prime Minister to officially provide closure for the trauma this has caused in the Southeast Asian community. Let the Prime Minister finally apologize in a dignified way in this House so that the process of healing and reconciliation can begin. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Orders of the day. Ordre du jour.
Government orders, business of supply, consideration of an opposition